For this next card in our holiday series, I'm going to use some designer paper that has some holly leaves on it, but it's some non-traditional colors. And what I want to do is replicate these holly leaves in an embossed look. The challenge, though, was that I didn't have any embossing powder quite this same color. So I made my own. And the way I did it is I started out with, I was looking at the colors that I had. I had a gold color, and I don't know how well this shows up on the camera, but I had a gold color from Stampin' Up! And I also had some copper, and those weren't quite right, so I mixed them. I took an equal portion, approximately, of each of these two colors, and I created, which is what turns out to be kind of a bronzy color. So it's going to work really well for our leaves. Now, to cut the leaves, I cut mine on the Cricut, and I'm going to show you how to do them if you don't have a Cricut or any other die cutter that will cut your holly leaves. But I cut mine, and I'm going to score the center, and I've scored 2 of them. So to score the center, you just put it on any type of cutter that has a scoring blade, or you can manually score that with a bone folder. Put that vein in the middle. Okay. Now, if you don't have a die cutter to cut holly leaves, you can cut your own. This one actually may look more like a real holly leaf than the ones I cut on my Cricut. The way I did this one is I took an oval and I cut the oval using a Creative Memories cutter, but you could use an oval punch. And now I'm going to take a 3/4 inch circle punch. Depending on how large you want your holly leaves, you could use a smaller circle punch. And I'm going to start at the tip, and as you can see, I've scored this one as well. And I want to start so that the tip will have a point to it. And what I'm doing is just notching as I go along, just cutting out a little notch using my circle punch. And you do the same thing. You start at the top and go down one side, and then come back and start again at the top and work your way down the other side. Let's see, I didn't get this end. And there's a holly leaf. So that's another way to make holly leaves if you don't have any other way to cut them. Alright, now that I have mine cut, I'm ready to do some embossing. So I cut the ones that I'm going to use on this card in a similar color paper to what the embossed look is going to be. It's a little bit lighter color paper. This is craft paper, but I don't want white or some other color that's going to show through if I don't get it entirely embossed. And the way I'll emboss this is just, let's see, I'm going to need a little scrap piece of paper. And I have a Versamark pad here. Whenever my Versamark pads start to get dirty, I buy a new one, but I keep the dirtier one, the stained one, for projects like this where there might end up getting a little bit of embossing powder or something on it. So I'm not using my perfectly good Versamark pad. Take this one, and I'm going to take some of my mixed up embossing powder and just coat it thoroughly. Okay. Okay, I've got my excess embossing powder out of the way, and I'm just going to heat this. Now I'm not worried about this little part that's missing down here because that's going to be covered up by some of my holly berries. Alright, and I'll go ahead and do the other two, and then we'll be ready to continue with our card. Okay, working on the background of the card. When I have a 12 by 12 sheet of designer paper that has a lot of distressing around one edge and you cut it down for a card, I either cut that distressing off or I distress the other edge. And in this case I'm not going to use a light color distressing, I'm going to use a little bit darker color on this opposite edge. Use some vintage photo and just brush that along the edge so it doesn't look like it was cut from a larger piece of paper. Okay. And now is a good time to stamp my sentiment. And I decided to stamp the sentiment right on the background, so I just looked for an open area in the print. You could stamp it on a separate sheet of cardstock and punch it and put it on your card. Okay. Alright. On this one I'm going to have the ribbon go around this side, so let's go ahead and put that on. Put this on the card and then we'll put the ribbon on. Now I'm folding this ribbon in half so it won't take up gobs and gobs of room. They'll still have some quite a bit of fluffiness to the bow. This is ribbon from the fabric section of a craft store. I think it came from Hobby Lobby. And I always pick the kind that doesn't have wire in it. So you won't have wires poking out. It makes a really pretty bow. Okay. And now, let's see, I'm going to scoot that down a little bit. And we're ready to place our holly leaves. I'm going to get an idea where I want to glue them. Like one on top there, I think. Okay. And I'm going to glue these on with Mono Tombow glue. Just along the ridge there, the vein. Okay. And then we're ready for our liquid pearls. Now you can use regular pearls here, or rhinestones, or brads, or whatever you want to, whatever would be appropriate for the type of paper that you were using. I thought the liquid pearls would work good for this. I just need a few. That's probably enough. Okay. Oops. My ribbon's smearing them a little bit. Hold that ribbon out of the way. Okay, and the ribbon will come back and cover some of that when it gets dry. And I could add some more if I wanted, but I'll leave that to dry. And then we have, there's a couple of different versions of this card. Thank you for joining me today.